Ooh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the After Effect Podcast Show. I am your host, LeBron Stephen, but you call me LBZ, LB. Big Bron, B Ron, Ronnie, the Chosha Jaws. Welcome to episode 78. We have a very, very special guest, Malik Watson, Honolulu, Hawaii native, played his football at San Jose State and Dixie State, had a stint with the San Francisco 49ers, and now is a SAG actor, performing in national commercials with Geico, USFL, Netflix, and Rydell. He's jumping on now, so let's go in. What's good with you, bro?
What's up, man?
Hey, I appreciate you joining so early, man. How you made it happen?
Hey, facts though. I told you last week I was trying to make it work, but I was like, damn. Oh, Memorial Day, absolutely. We can do it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right.
Well, yeah, man, this is called the After Effects Show. I started about 20 years ago. It was always my belief that, our voice was minimized, that transition going from, that 15 to 20 year relationship with football, basketball, whatever your sport is. And, that transition, I have to, figure life out, the after effect of your career, right? I always felt like that was kind of minimized, and mostly only guys that get to have a voice are, the guys that make it or have those like illustrious careers, and then they have all those resources. So yeah, this is kind of just a free and safe space for us to relive our journey, but more importantly, talk about the after effect, talk about what choices we had to make and things like that. Really, just as we try to push the culture forward.
Right. I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, okay. I just got two current events before we dive into your childhood, man. So I know you are I researched you're a native of Honolulu, Hawaii, but you grew up mostly in California, right?
Right. So I was born and I was raised in the Bay Area. Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna ask you who you got winning the finals, but I'm sure you're going for the Warriors.
That's where everybody gets it messed up. They always say that I'm like, from the Bay, so I should be a Warriors fan. So actually, I'm a LeBron fan. You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
That's what we connect. You know what I'm saying?
But
I wasn't a Heat fan when he was in Miami. I was a wherever he had fan. You get what I'm saying?
That's what I always been. I'm a LeBron fan.
Right. When I moved to LA in 2018, like he came same summer. It's like we moved here together.
Yeah.
So I'm a Laker fan. I'm a LeBron fan for sure. I'm cool with Matt Barnes. I'm cool with a couple guys from the We Believe era. So I'm actually like a We Believe fan. Like when they were like, they had Baron Davis, Stephen Jackson, Al Harrington, Matt Barnes, of course. Mm-hmm. They had that whole squad that was lit, and they made that run, that push in the playoffs, and like they had that team camaraderie that they had was just something. And they didn't have what they have now, obviously, but they had nothing but like the brotherhood and just knowing Matt and like kind of knowing like how close they were off the court too.
Right.
I always rock with, but. Yeah, I was a LeBron fan ever since 2003 when he came out on the scene, bro. I'm honestly going for it. Ironically, I'm going for the Celtics just because like Jason Tatum's like, he's the protege. I feel like, the Celtics have a good young squad that just needs to get that chip.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's great to see them get over the hump. That's what I've been telling guys. I wasn't sure if they were ready because guys forget, Tatum and Brown, they're still young guys. They're both like 23.
Yeah,
it just seems like they've been in the league since 18, 19. So it seems like they've been here so long, but you know what I mean? They're only like 23, 24 max, man. So I wasn't sure if because they don't have that experience. So I'm not sure if they're going to perform how we want them to perform in the finals because, the Warriors got all that experience and the Celtics don't. But I think every great player, they all have that moment where they get in the finals and then they have a chance to ascend past. So it's like just because they don't have the experience, I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely. That's why I feel like just for the Giannis when they won it, was it last year?
Yeah, last year. Yep.
they got Jaylen Brown. They have and they have like they got Al Horford too, right?
Al Horford been balling. Marcus Smart been balling. Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, they got a good team. Grant Williams, you know, he's pretty consistent from that corner three. He plays really tough, really hard. Robert Williams, you know, paint protector. Yeah, they got a nice young nucleus. Horford brings that veteran energy. This is his first time in the finals, so yeah, I'm excited to see. I just want to see good basketball. Like you said, I'm a LeBron fan, and I'm a little different. I've been a LeBron fan since like 98, because I'm actually from Cleveland, Ohio. So like I heard about LeBron when he was like in ninth grade playing for St. Mary, and my father came home like, hey man, like it's somebody with your name, and they said he the best. He gonna be the best player in the world. Like his name LeBron James, and my father like a jokester, like a hood jokester. So he like, man, he slew for it. His feet like this. He walked like this. I don't know how he can hoop. So we would have seen him hoop. We went to his game when he was a freshman with the fro, no facial hair, serving dudes with the green and gold Kobe zone, like. And I watched him had like 25 and 14 when he was 14 years old. I'm like 10 years old in the crowd. So like my obsession with LeBron career is kind of a little different. Yeah.
You LeBron fan.
Yeah.
I've been vying for LeBron for forever, bro. Because all my friends are from the Bay, so like they always any LeBron joke or like news. I'm like, I always got to just be on defense mode all the time.
All the time, right.
I'll happily for the rest of my life. I don't care.
Yeah. No. I mean, I meet a lot of LeBron haters all the time, man. So one more current event, bro. We're like pretty much 2 years, a little over 2 years removed from COVID being announced. So when it was announced, I think the date was March 15th of 2020. How did you find yourself just over these past years having to grow, having to pivot emotionally, spiritually, physically, just during those times? I think at that time we had just wrapped up season 2 All-American. And if my memory serves me correctly, we were supposed to start filming a football movie for Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if you were included in that, but entertainment just shut down like for literally at least, I believe, 8 months. And then when they tried to bring it back, then LA shut down again. So how did you just have to grow? I mean, I had to pivot in so many different ways and figure out different avenues to even try to keep like my acting career going. So, and obviously I think you did too, and you've ascended, since then. So just kind of talk about what you went through during the COVID experience, how you had to pivot and things like that.
So it's actually funny, like when that whole thing happened, sorry, nothing funny is about, there's nothing funny about COVID, but when COVID first happened and like it was an actual thing, I was actually a trainer at Equinox. I Century City Equinox for about a couple of years because every time I, left the team, I'd come back and I'd work the front desk at Century City, make a lot of connections. It was a free membership. Met, a whole lot of good people over there. And so it was a nice little like temporary job to have as I was still trying to play football. And that was 2019 when I retired, and then I just like became just got on grind mode to be a trainer, and I wanted to be the best Equinox trainer in the world because it was out there. And I had a mentor who had just hit that number 1 mark, and one of the months that I was there that he was mentoring me. So I saw it, I wanted it, and I basically like was training for that, and then I got transferred. I got the job to be a tier 2 trainer at the Santa Monica location.
Okay.
Got hired there January of 2020, and so it was only like 2.5 months that I was there before we shut. But when I was there, though, I literally was on grind mode from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single day, and sometimes on Sundays, and it was a lot for me because I worked so hard and so much like just get to, because I had a lot of goals that I wanted to achieve. And obviously, I don't know if you're familiar with like Equinox training and everything, but you can hit about like 200 bonuses here. So there's a lot of room to, obviously financial success. Their insurance is one of the best. All the things that come with being a trainer when you hit that full-time mark.
Right.
And so I was, the record to become the fastest full-time trainer was like 3 months. And my very first 28 days that I was EquiFit cleared to actually start training people was, I think, the end of January. And I think like mid-February or mid-March or something, I had hit like 15 clients, and I was like three sessions away from becoming full-time and breaking the record.
Wow.
And I was so excited. It was amazing for me. And then bam, we shutting down. Yeah. And I was, this is crazy. But it allowed me to really like step outside of myself for a second, because I was like so going that I really had nothing else to really latch on to when it came to like, you know, who I was as a person, like how else am I growing? And, you know, at the time I was focused. I felt like everything that I did up until that point was for a reason. So I was excited about that, and I was focused on that. But I think once when that it was a global tragedy, it allowed me to like really understand that, okay, there's much more important things in the world that I needed to like really do. So yeah, so I started to get more closer with the people around me. I started to obviously, you know, just really understand that there's so much more out there for me to do, and that 7 streams of income is a hell of a time to start when you're, you know, locked down at the house. And started to kind of bring my business, you know, outside of Equinox, obviously, because, you know, we couldn't really be there. So private training was, you know, grinding as much as I possibly could with that, online training. And I started to get into bodybuilding. And so I think 2020, I did my very first bodybuilding show. And because we had so much downtime, I wanted to figure out, like, you know, what's going to give me the edge that I want, because I, you know, compete at work anymore. Next thing that's going to give me that edge after football, post football, and sales training. Obviously, at Equinox, like, really gave that to me. You know, being the best trainer in that whole gym was I saw it as an opportunity to like just, you know, grind and just like level up and elevate as a person, as a trainer. And so when that was kind of like, I don't want to say taken from me, but it was halted, I was like, you know, I'm already like fully invested in training and human performance and, you know, just the human elevation of the body. You know, what can I do? And I just like, okay, I'm going to do a show. And so I started to get into bodybuilding. And then I think, it was right after that bodybuilding show. It was in October. It was right after my birthday, and I got back on. So we started to film All American season 3, and so I think right after that started with All American season 3, and man, we were in a bubble. Like, we were in Burbank, we were in I can't say other locations. We were all over the place in LA, just trying to make the thing work. And it's in a bubble in the hotel room, which was dope. It was cool, but we couldn't leave, and that was in the pandemic. So no gym access, no outside access. Like, we literally go to set, go home. We can't even work out. We couldn't even, you know, leave to get groceries or something. We had to just like DoorDash if we possibly could, have things get dropped off to us. So it was different. That was a lot, because I was about 3 weeks. And
I remember them hitting me up for that.
No, man, we saw all the familiar faces. We were like, damn, this is dope. And it was about, you know, I don't know how many of us that was on there, but it was quite a bit. And I know that, you know, fitting all these guys in one hotel,
right?
I don't think they want to do that for a long time.
Right. And then like you alluded to, like, you can't really do anything, though. You can't go anywhere. Like you said, that was in the meat of the pandemic.
Yeah. So that was right in the midst of that. And for me personally, that was it was a cool experience, because I was able to, you know, get back on set. I mean, obviously, like the experience that we have on set is like amazing, because you get to network, you get to like see everyone pursuing the same dream as you. So you have like guys you can like relate to and like talk to,
right?
And you can obviously network for things and projects after that. So, you know, being on set is like one of the best things for me, especially. But we'll get to that. So for that was really cool. But at the same time, it was, we had to, stand, I think it was like 10 feet away from each other. We had to wear a mask all the time. We couldn't even stop to go to 7-Eleven on the way home from set. Like that's how crazy they had us.
Yeah.
But I respect it though. And then I think we shot, I think for a few episodes for that bubble. And then me personally, I actually like ended up breaking my ankle on set that one time.
Oh,
so
wow.
that was wild. Because it was just some freak accident and, long story. But it's funny because a month later, I think 2 months later, I'm in the booth and they bring me back on for Calling in Black and White, the next TV show that they worked on.
Yeah, on Netflix.
Yeah. So that was hilarious because I had to show up in a booth and my little like scooter stroller. And so they had to the assistant had to walk me on the field. I took my boot off, gave them my stroller. They took it off the field. We shot our scenes and I had to, in between takes, I had to put my boot back on. It was hilarious.
Man, still working, injured.
Hey, you got to. Especially, and I was early. I was that was the second show I ever did a couple years ago. So that was huge for me. So I was like, yeah, I'm going for sure.
Yeah.
And so, but sorry, not to get off topic, but for me personally, it was a huge opportunity for me to pursue my dream. And so, obviously real world before the pandemic, I'm not sure how long you've been here, but for me, I was there I think I had just retired middle or the summer of 2019. So I had that whole fall to kind of get prepared for my next job. And so when I became that trainer and I was doing what I wanted to do, that gave me security. And so I wanted to have insurance. I wanted to have, all the bonuses. I want to make a life. I wanted to basically, I wanted to start there, kind of have that financial security and the financial freedom, and then kind of move off and pursue the acting career and everything I've been. I'm minoring in theater, so I've wanted to do this for a while. And so, when that pandemic happened, it was kind of like God telling me this is what you want to do. And a different way, it's a different maneuver to how to get to it. But honestly, I think 2020 and definitely 2021, that's when all the opportunities kind of were presenting themselves.
Yeah.
And that was something that kind of it was a blessing in disguise for sure. My life has changed 180 since the pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I love just tapping in with guys, like you said, just networking. I think I've had at least 5 or 6 guys just on my podcast, just from season 2 All American. I just had Isaiah Bowlington, Juwan Haynes. Man. But like you said, seeing like-minded guys that kind of want, are going for the same thing as you. That's where the power is. That's where, you know what I mean? That's where the goodness is at, man. So, but yeah, man, like you said, everything. And I've just been so happy to see guys really go after it. So just to see you in all these national spots, for the Geicos and the Rydell's and the USFL, man, I've just been, living through you all, because I think we've all had to pivot and try to figure out how we're going to balance still, possibly having a full-time job and still auditioning and, just going through that whole grind, man. So yeah, it's been cool, man.
And I'm blessed to say that I do this full time now. It's been amazing. And it's nothing I take for granted at all, because not everybody can be in this position. And also when you do have the opportunities that kind of present themselves like this, you have to make sure you maneuver the right way and pivot, as you just said, the right direction, so you can obviously make the most out of them. And so you build a career and not just have a certain moment. And I think that, this pandemic started out scary, but I think as humans, we know how to, adapt. And I feel a lot of people are adapting to their true self, just you. I feel what you're doing right now is amazing. And I think a lot of empowering guys who aren't that A-list actor or aren't that, full-time model just yet, or aren't that real estate agent, that guru just yet, to come on and talk about what we actually do within the regular day basis. And we don't have distance, like, you know, really helping our lives out. Like, we're still going after and getting it.
Exactly.
And that's an amazing thing, because we obviously want to, you know, obviously get to where we want to be at, but that's not, you don't see that behind the scenes realistic, I don't want to say realistic, but the true life events that we deal with on a daily basis. And I feel like which is an amazing thing. So yeah, I mean,
that was kind of like the whole ethos of it, you know, just to you know, allow guys to, you know, have that space to talk about it. And what I've noticed is the guys that I do get on, you know, a lot of times they always say this is their first time actually even delving back into like their college career, or like talking about it, like, you know, like kind of like in a free form. So yeah, man. So let's dive into your childhood, bro. Like, native of Honolulu, Hawaii. So were you born there?
Yeah, so I was born in Honolulu.
Okay, yeah. Like talk about how it was growing up there, and then like when you moved to California, what that transition was like, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so born in Honolulu, Hawaii. My grandmother's from Hawaii. My mom was raised in the Big Island. My grandmother's from the Big Island as well. And we moved here. And this is kind of crazy, but like, I don't know if it was a year or I was 3. I can't remember what age I was, because I don't ask that many questions about my childhood that much. But so my parents got together, 89, and then they had me in 93 to infinity, you know what I'm saying? And we moved to the Bay Area, I think Santa Clara and Fremont. And then I was just scattered all over the place in the Bay Area, but predominantly grew up in San Jose and Pittsburgh, California. And so my parents were together until I was 6, and they got divorced in 2000, and was with my mom until I was 12, and then moved with my dad in Pittsburgh, and you know, was raised out there. But I mean, you know, a lot of people have a different story, or everybody has their own story, I should say. And I feel like my childhood kind of like is a huge component to who I am today.
Yeah. And so, yeah, next up, talk about that transition. I always tell guys, I think a lot of fans and just a lot of people in general that maybe really like football, they really don't know what that transition is like. You know, you go from kind of like the comforts of your own home, whatever your environment is, and then you transition as an 18-year-old to a big college campus, you know, and you have to balance. Football is more than a full-time job. It's more than a full-time job, right? When you're talking about special teams meetings, treatment, position meetings, practice, like dinner table, lunch table. Then you got to go to study hall. Then you got to pretty much do the same thing again, waking up at 5 a.m. and going to get your lift in. Then you got to go to your tutors and all your classes. Like, it's a true 45 like grind. Like, that's harder than a full-time job. So like, kind of just talk about your transition when you first transitioned. Was it hard for you? Did you redshirt? Because my transition was tough. Like, I didn't really feel like I got comfortable on campus. I got there obviously in August for training camp, but I didn't really feel comfortable until probably like towards the end of the season, like November, December. It took me some months and then we didn't even talk about social life, trying to actually like have a social life and have friends and stuff like that, man. It's so much. So like, how was your transition?
My transition was crazy, man. It was a lot.
Because you went to, I did research. You went to junior college.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I was going to say it was a complex situation. So I didn't get the offers that I actually wanted. I mean, I graduated with a 3.4 high school, and you know, I was definitely trying to like go somewhere, and like I had about, I think, 8 offers, and I didn't have any of them that I wanted. So that's what happened with San Jose State. They were about to offer me, and then they ended up getting David Fales, which is my guy, who ended up playing in the league for about 6 years. Because they thought that I think they had talked to me after one of my games, and I think in the same room, another college was there, and they offered me, and I think they thought that I was just gonna like take that, and that wasn't the case. And so they ended up moving on and getting David Fales. And so I was like, so going into signing day, I got laid off from Houston. I had a laid offer from who else? Weber State and a few other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so I should have just took the Houston one. I should have just took University of Houston because obviously they were pretty big, but they also had another QB that they had Greg Ward, and I think they had somebody else who was like 5-star from Florida. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, I don't know where to go. And like, that was kind of like a really, really, I mean, most people would just say, just take one, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
just get there.
Right. It was hard for you to pull the trigger.
Yeah. So for me, man, it doesn't make sense talking about it, honestly. But for me, I was so like based in like, I got to stay home. And I didn't want to leave. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of like, you know, to most people, it's like, that's stupid. But for me, it meant a lot to me. And so I was like, take anything, I was going to go to SF City College to play a year, even Glacier, because my homie, Ikaka Woosley, he went there, gray shirted, got an offer from Hawaii and dipped up out of there and was started for Hawaii the next 2 years. Within the next 2 years. So I was like, I can go to a JC and like not even have to play and still get out. And I ended up getting a lot of great opportunities at my JC. But as soon as I got that first one, I was out of there. I wanted to go to San Jose State. Yeah. But I went to JC, man, and that was an amazing opportunity because for me, like just knowing that, you know, I could have obviously went somewhere, but knowing that I took that route, I had to fully invest in that. And I couldn't be like one of those guys like, oh yeah, I don't need to be here, because almost 90% of guys who go to JC are like, I don't need to be here. You know, right. That's their mentality. And so if you want to be the quarterback of that team, you got to like really kind of nip that in the bud and be like, hey, we're all here for a reason. Right. You got to make it work. Right. And so I'm going to 2 bowl games in my 2 years there, or a year and a half or whatever. Was going to go to Arizona State after my freshman year. And that was another situation. They had a guy who said he was leaving. They flew out, worked me out, offered me right on the spot, flew back, and they let the guy, I think, take the spring break to figure out if he wanted to leave or not. He goes home. He comes back and says, I'm not leaving just yet. They said, okay, we have to postpone the offer. And then, you know, gotta just, you know, basically you gotta, we'll see you after your season. Yeah. And well, that's the case. That's, you know, that's what it is. So going to my second year over there, that's when all the offers I wanted came in, and San Jose State was definitely the best opportunity to play right away. Right. So that right then. But
yeah. So yeah, what moment stood out to you, you know, during your San Jose experience? Because did you transfer to Dixie State University at some point? Okay, so like, what moment stood out at San Jose before you left?
Yeah, I did my senior year at Dixie State. Okay. So basically, I mean, to go back to your previous question, like the whole transition was crazy, because going to San Jose State, I went to a JC, which I'm driving to Richmond every single day, coming back. You know, obviously it's Richmond, California, so I'm not staying out past 5 out there. Right when we done with practice, I am out of there. Yeah. So, you know, I didn't really have a social life at all at JC. I played QB. I was also playing baseball too. I practiced the baseball team over there. So I was fully invested in trying to figure out if I could play football and baseball at the next opportunity. Next phase. And so basically I was in grind mode. And so when I went to San Jose State, it was a different type of grind. Because it was like I went to a JC type of grind. I was like invested in that, you know, just in that mode. Obviously, like, you know, if I didn't have class, like we don't have practice until 3 or 4 p.m. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting there like, you know, I'm leaving before practice for traffic kids. So I'm leaving at like 1 p.m. so I can like watch film for a couple of hours before we get on there, get a workout in before we get on the field. We go to San Jose State, everything's in the morning, like everything. So you got to get up at 5 a.m., You have to figure out how you're going to get to the facility because like you don't know anybody just yet.
Yeah.
You can't Uber. You don't know where the bus station's at. So having to rely on other teammates who are on the same boat as you, not trying to. Stuff like that. So that was a whole transition to have to like rely on other people. I had my own car too, but like, it was giving me problems. So it was breaking down all the time. That was chaotic, but it's a facility. We gotta, we have to run, lift, then we have meetings and then we have practice. Man, it was a lot. At first it was like, oh my gosh, like, to the point where I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, but is this what humans can actually do? Like, I didn't know.
Right.
5 a.m., exert all your energy in one phase, go to the next one, exert all your energy again, and then expect us to have like 18 hours of purely,
Man, I'm telling you. That was the biggest thing for me, not the speed of the game, but just the intensity of it. Like, and like you said, you going from, well, like we didn't have a 9-on-7 or like a block drill or anything like that when I was in high school. So like going to that and to see how hard just the warm up was, like the warm up that you're doing before practice, like I'm like, man, this is a warm up. I feel like I just worked out. Then you do a tackling circuit, which is super intense, like, and it's rapid fire. Then you're doing run individual. Then you're doing blocks drill. Then you're doing 9-on-7. Then you do a pass individual. Then you're doing 1-on-1s. Then you're doing, your dogs periods. You're practicing all your blitzes and all that. Then you're doing team. So everything was just pow, pow, pow. And like you said, everything was so intense and fast. And I remember my first week in training camp, like being so sore. I like just not even knowing how I was going to get up the next day. Now, really not know how I was going to finish training camp because I was an undersized guy. I was like a rush linebacker, but coming in, I only weighed about 218, 220. I was chiseled, but I was super fast. And playing in the Big Ten, I knew I was going to have to put weight on. So 9 out of 10 times I was going to redshirt. But just getting used to the physicality and the intensity every day, and it's in that 90, 95 degree heat, man, that was really hard for me, man. Like even when I made it out of training camp, like it was like, okay, yes, I made it out of the training camp. All right, cool. Now I gotta move into the dorms and get and try to gain some kind of social life and get used to having classes and everything, man. So it was a lot of people take that stuff for granted, man. And I have seen some guys come in. It's mostly skill position, but I have seen some guys come in and just transition easy, get right on the field and ball out and do 3 and out, and like they make it look easy, but it's not easy for everyone.
No, it's not. And I think that was like the biggest trend. That was the biggest thing I had to get used to. Cause like for me, you go from a JC, like not everything is going to be like fully organized. You know what I'm saying? You have to like create your own structure.
Right.
And so you go there and everything's already panned out. And if you're like, you're missing on one thing, it's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like that is like, yo, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so I think even winter workouts, I'm over here thinking like, am I going to make it past winter workouts? Cause like that like, winter workouts, mat drills, all that other stuff, like that's literally, it's almost like we're getting ready for like a Spartan race or something like that. Exactly. like go out there in the ancient Greek Coliseum and actually like perform some crazy.
I'm telling you, man. Them college workouts different. Them D1 college workouts are different. I tell people all the time, if you haven't done it before, then you really won't really understand what we're talking about.
Man, facts. And it's like when people don't understand, like, oh yeah, I didn't play college, but like I could have, like, okay, yeah, that's
right. Way easier said than done, sir.
That was like the biggest thing, because like just for me, and it's just like that first year you're there. The first year is like the craziest transition, but after that, everything's
used to it.
Yeah. So, but that first time, especially when you're playing quarterback, like, oh my God. And this is a story that everybody knows about me. My very first workout, man, I had transferred in. I had a bad SI joint in my back. I had a sprained ankle. I was messed up everywhere because I just got done with a bowl game. And then San Jose State starts their workouts like 2 weeks later, like three weeks later. And I transfer right then because I want to like hurry, get in the winter. And I'm dead. Like my body's already done. And I didn't give my body enough rest or anything. My very first workout, man, I'm on the floor. Like I can't even make it through conditioning because like I'm done. Like I think it was we did like we did a cool, nice little workout, but then we finished it off with like 800-yard sprints.
Okay.
And skills. And I'm already like 230 at the time. Yeah. I'm big as a linebacker. And they put us with the skills that spring. I'm like, I'm not no skill. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to run with the skills back in the day, but right now, like I'm hurting. Right. But you can't, because you just met everybody. And our strength coaches are intense as hell. They're yelling at you. They don't even know your name yet.
That's how ours was.
Disrespectful ass nicknames. Like it's everybody's knowing you as a certain name. Like, and thank God that didn't happen to me. But like that energy was towards me. That, oh my God, they just like as soon as you got on campus, they just like looking at you like you have 3 heads. And so my very first like winter workout, man, I couldn't even make it through. And that's when that was like the talk of the whole team for like the next week until like, well, not until the next workout, obviously, but like I couldn't even make it past it because like I was so like still, recovering from my bowl game and like, injuries and everything like that. But at the same time, I still showed up. Like, I didn't tell nobody like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm going through. And me seeing a documentary about Junior Seau, how he used to always take his trainers to his own training or his own hotel, and he didn't want nobody to see him hurt. Yeah. And like that's kind of like mentality I wanted to have. I wanted to go. I wanted to make sure like if anything happened, I'd go before people got there or after. I didn't want people like kind of what I'm saying, like, oh, what's going on with you, all this stuff.
Right.
I was in college, but for me, that's kind of like what I wanted to do. But that intensity of like already not knowing what's out there, knowing that you already have like, something going on with you and still having to perform, that was your whole college career. And I got that first taste right there that day. And like, man, that was crazy. And so that's when I quickly had to know, this is my weight. This is where I need to be at. Just to make sure, like, no matter what, if this happens again, like I will not have to worry about it because I will be in the most peak physical condition at all times. So I think I'm 230, like 198 in like 4 months. It was crazy. I was doing double workouts every single day. By summertime, I'm fast as I've ever been. I didn't know anything about nutrition, so I'm over here eating spinach and cereal every day with no type of protein.
So what would you say? What would you say out of your whole college experience? Like what moments stood out to you? If you just thought about it off the top of your head.
In a good way, I would say definitely not my first year at San Jose State. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, no. Honestly, man, I love the people that I met too. Like the connection that I made in college. That lasts a lifetime. Of course. So, I met my best friends in college. I met, like everything that I wanted to do kind of started in college. Like I started, doing acting class in college. It was, I think my redshirt year at San Jose State, I started to, start taking acting classes because, if I'm not going to play this year, I want to be challenged in some type of way. Everybody wants to play. And when you're a redshirt, you have to practice, but it's like you're invisible still, like, hey, you're practicing, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really.
Exactly.
And I was a guy who still traveled too. I was redshirting and I still had to play. I was still like the third emergency quarterback.
Okay. So he was traveling. See, yeah, when I redshirted, I didn't travel. So like you said, in practice, you did all the individual drills, but like you said, nobody was really looking at you. You was on a scout team. Like you just kind of had to like stay focused on your own goals, like your physical goals, and trying to put on weight the right way, to give yourself a chance to compete that next season.
Right. And so for me, I got the whole experience my redshirt year. So I was still traveling And I wasn't. I mean, I would have much preferred to not travel, honestly.
But I love not traveling.
Yeah, right. I'm
on the away games, we had like a 2 day. You had like that Friday and Saturday off, so you didn't have anything to that next Sunday.
You're like having to, man, like we traveling, we're going to all these places, we're doing all these things. I'm still having to play third fiddle every single day. So you know, that was a whole that was a whole experience. But the experience that I got though, like I mean, you know, going to Auburn, going to Minnesota, going to Iowa State, all these different colleges, going to BYU, going to was it Navy? Navy, going to all these places, man.
Yeah, getting those experiences.
Yeah, so going to my redshirt year, that was like, man, that was a lot. That was a lot of good things. I mean, that was a lot of like good experiences because, you know, I got to like really be in the thick of it. But the only thing I didn't like is obviously was like, you know, not even having the opportunity to play, and I'm still traveling. Like, I know for a fact I'm not playing today, but I'm still going to travel every single game. So that was tough because I couldn't. It was hard to watch, but then I had to watch like up close times 10. So that's what that's something I much rather like could have back. But at the same time, it was a catch-22 because I received a lot of good experiences with that. But for me, I think the next year when I was able to actually like compete for the QB position and like to see myself evolve, because you don't know what you actually can do until you actually go out there and put it to use. Exactly. And so, like you're preparing all this time, like you're literally preparing for a year to have this opportunity.
Exactly.
And I think, you know, just having that opportunity to play, and you know, even though it doesn't go your way, or if it does, like having the opportunity to like say, now is your opportunity, now is your time, and like just have that moment. That was a blessing. So my junior year, we won the bowl game at the Cure Bowl in Orlando, and that was really dope because that was the first year they had that, and Georgia State, and that was a great game. But that whole year, man, making the friendships I made on the team and off the field as well, kind of like seeing myself grow. Not kind of actually, like that was my like getting to see myself like be at one of the highest levels, and like really feel comfortable about of where I was at, and kind of like knowing that like, you know, I can play in the NFL at some point. That was a really cool opportunity. And then next year, man, I ain't gonna lie, 2016 was probably like one of the best years ever because I graduated, I transferred, and it's funny that I said that. I didn't even play football that year, which is kind of wild. But for me to, you know, be in a play, I was in a Shakespeare play, and I had a redshirt again that year due to transfer rules and all other crazy stuff with the NCAA. But I was able to be like kind of like see myself, you know, as an actor and as an athlete that year, and that was like huge for me. And then 2017, actually like have my senior year and have my own team to myself, and you know to be able to like actually play and you know kind of like captain the team. That was amazing. So, but I feel like the opportunities that I had, like the position I was put in at San Jose State, really like that was
you kind of shaped you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That was a lot.
No, yeah, that's dope that you got to, you know, get that theater experience, because I think that getting that theater experience, it makes it that much kind of easier. Like when you're talking about acting in front of a camera, you know, because theater, you have to be so much more vibrant and like louder, and you got to make sure everyone in the room hears you. And if you mess up, you got to keep going. You got to figure it out. It's not like on film where you can do another take. So yeah, and then all, like you said, all the while, you know, while playing football as well. That's like you can't beat that. So talk about how the San Francisco 49ers opportunity came.
Oh man, so that was a That was a crazy opportunity. Yeah, so that was 2018. That was the second team I had an opportunity with. And yeah, so I got to, meet Kyle Shanahan, what should we call it? GM, my guy.
John Elway.
Not John Elway, no. Damn, John Lynch. I'm tripping.
Yeah. John Lynch, 49ers. Yeah.
John Lynch is one of the greatest human beings ever. But yeah, I mean, that was.
I know that had to be kind of surreal, especially you pretty much being a Bay kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. I mean, also, but I mean, before that, it was with the Raiders. You got to be there with John Gruden was his first year there. Mm-hmm. The McKenzie brothers. My big homie Josh Johnson was the QB over there. He's been a mentor of mine for like 9 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was playing, while I was playing, yeah. I mean, those camps that I was in were amazing, man, and to be able to just showcase my opportunities and showcase my talents and like throw with the best of them, mm-hmm. and just be out there and just just feel the nice NFL grass, like feeling the good, broken in footballs, brushed the right way, like it was
just to put on that helmet, man.
Oh my gosh, put on that jersey was huge. Like to see my last name in that locker, it was great. I just wish that things could have been extended a little bit more.
Yeah, but of course.
But yeah, no, it was amazing, man. And it's bittersweet, obviously, when you think about it, just because I wanted it to be a career thing.
Yeah. You wanted the dream to come true.
Yeah, but just to have the opportunity though, just to just to have that, yes, you are good enough to be here for a second. Like, okay, bet. That was a blessing, and I can't. It's kind of hard to find the words to describe that opportunity because you work your whole life for that moment. Mm-hmm. And everything happens for a reason though. And for me, I've definitely came to this point at 28 years of my life. I don't want anything that's not made for me, Exactly, and so at that moment it was just like, damn, why is it not, why can
why it's not happening for me? Why can't I? Right. Yeah. Why, and I think all athletes go through that, man. Like, when you get an opportunity, but then it doesn't last, or you don't get the opportunity you want to compete, that's when those questions come. I mean, you're wondering why you can't do this, or why it's not happening for you, but it's happening for him. And then, I think that's when kind of some of the negative thoughts start to come, and you got to kind of just push through that. But those are the things that I like talking about, because those are the things that go unnoticed, or guys don't really get to talk about, or fans don't really know of. You know what I mean? They kind of try to paint this picture like,
right,
you're supposed to just make that transition into the real world, like when football don't work out, and it's just a lot harder than kind of like what's portrayed.
Yeah, it's a culture change. It's a culture shock as well. It's because you're grinding for something certain, something so specific for so long. Exactly. And you just talked about how intense it is. The college experience is it's this or nothing else.
Exactly.
And if you don't even if when your head coach asks you what's your next goal, and the NFL's not in that description, mm-hmm. they question you and your ability as a college athlete.
Exactly.
And that's not not everybody's going to make it to the league, of course.
Exactly. Most people aren't going to make it.
Right. Yeah. But to have that mentality and to have that just to be in that certain atmosphere, and then to get there or not get there, and it kind of just be dropped in the real world. That's a huge a change for people. And so that's kind of what I was when I retired from football. I was excited. I was elated. Basically, I was this is because I went through so many injuries, man.
That was actually going to be my next question. Do you remember the day that you knew that you were done? So that was a good moment for you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Man. So I flew back from Green Bay, and that was my last team that I was with, and like that was something that like it was a great opportunity. I actually ended up playing arena over there too.
Yeah, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Okay, for the Blizzard.
Yeah.
I played arena for the Green Bay Blizzard. My rookie year back in like 2013. Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I was there for a couple months because I wanted to get the film because I was getting ready to. I had interest from a few teams, but the Packers wanted to see some film. And
Same here. Like the Packers flew me out for a workout during the 2012 season. Clay Matthews had got hurt, so they were looking for an outside linebacker, and they flew me out for a workout. Worked out, met Mike, not Mike Holmgren, Mike. What is this? He's with the Cowboys right now. I think it's Mike McCreary or something like that. He was the Packers coach at the time. They flew me out, worked me out, told me to stay ready, flew me back, and then Aaron Rodgers breaks his collarbone the next game. So instead of signing an outside linebacker, they had to sign a quarterback. So that's why they didn't sign me. But I kept in contact with one of the scouts, and he's like, a lot of times we give guys camp spots or we sign guys, if they're balling out for the Green Bay Blizzard, because we go to those games, so we go to those home games sometimes. And so the same thing. Yeah. So that's actually why I went to and played in Green Bay, but right at the Red Center, right across the street from Lambeau, because it's like, okay, I'm about to ball out here, then hopefully get that rookie minicamp invite, and then materialize that to a contract, get in training camp, try to compete. So that's funny. You were doing the same thing.
Man, the same exact thing. I worked out for him, and then that was like the whole story. Like, okay, because I think I went to Oklahoma for a week or two or something like that, and played for the Aces, and like just because they needed a QB ASAP, and I'm like, all right, I'll do that. Go out there, and I don't want to badmouth anybody, but that was like one of the worst experiences. So I was like, okay, now I have to understand, like, am I going to keep on playing in arena to get this tape, or do I just like wait? And I've already took a whole year off to get surgery on my shoulder. So I get some type of film out there. And because, I got signed to the CFL and I was in people's neg lists, and that fell through due to just like bad timing. And I worked out for, I don't know, like 9 different NFL teams. And I had not got that opportunity for 2019 yet. So I was like, okay, now I gotta figure something out. And so that's when Green Bay called, and that's when they were interested in everything. And, they told me the whole thing with the Blizzard. And I'm like, okay, like if that's the actual like jointed thing, like for sure. And they already had a QB that was really good. He was obviously like a runner, so they wanted a passer to complement him. And it was fun, man. We ended up going to the playoffs for the first time since like 2013. So that was probably the last time you were there.
Yeah.
And that was 2019. So that was a really good opportunity. I was pretty fun too. But I also knew that was like, that was gonna be like one of the only times I would play arena, because if I don't get this,
it ain't nothing you want to do for a long time. Not in my opinion.
No, and not the guys that are actually doing that, because a lot of guys that's their safe haven. That's what they want to do, and I understand that.
I say that all the time. Hey, I salute anybody that could do that for 8 or 9 years. I did 2 years, and that shit just too hard on your body, man. Hit people in the walls, and I just and you're not getting compensated as much as I feel like you should be. So it's like, right. I was there for the film, just to get some film to try to get into somebody's camp out, like in the NFL, and that was it. When that didn't materialize, like I had to figure it out.
Yeah. So, but after that, once I got some tape, I had some opportunities. Before that, I had the AAF. I was gonna go with one of their teams, but then I was getting ready for the workout, but I had a lingering labrum injury in my throwing shoulder, and I was just like, I need to get surgery. So didn't work out with that. So after the Blizzard, I had an opportunity with the next XFL team in 2020, and then but that didn't pan out because of I had the epiphany. So when I left the Green Bay, I went to Denver because one of my best friends, or two of my best friends, were in Denver at the time. And so we just, took the weekend and like really just, party and, kind of have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, man, I was there for, I think, a week. And it turned from a day, 2 days, and then to a week. I'm just like, I think that's when I remember the moment. We had, I think, I don't want to say everything, but it was a morning that I was just like, I think this is a good time to hang it up. Not only because there's a lot of reasons, but for me, I think I had I damn near separated my shoulder, bumping into those walls. And another thing with arena, man, like, you have 8 guys on the roster. So if you're the second quarterback and you guys are playing 2 quarterbacks, the other quarterback's gonna have to play another position too.
Right. Right. Special teams.
Bro. Hey, quarterback, running back, receiver, and special teams. And it was because I was joking at halftime. And I was talking junk to the other receiver. I'm like, you got hands, but I got hands too. And he told the coach, he's like, hey, Lee said he got more hands than me. He's like, all right, Lee, you want to play receiver? I'm like, man, you lying. He's like, no, you play receiver if you want to. And I was like, so they put me at receiver, and I think I caught a hitch or something. And the very next play, they're gonna take me out. And then they take out another receiver, and I'm like, all right, Lee, you're playing running back. I'm like, what? He was like, no, you're playing running back now. I'm like, oh, crazy. He comes in and he says a play, and it's like, all right, veer option left. I'm like, who you option to? He's like, you. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm over here, all right, bet. So I'm thinking like, I hope this man keeps it. Like, there's no way he's gonna pitch it to me. I didn't even practice. I never practice. I mean, actually, right. The QBs, we work on a pitch, we run down the sideline together, pitch it to each other, but I never did this like for real.
Right.
And so, dude calls hike, and we go to the left, and I'm thinking like, okay, there's 3 guys coming at me. Like, there's no way he's gonna pitch it. I guess the guy gets to him first, and he pitched that thing. And I'm like, oh, and I swear it happened in slow motion, bro. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. And I'm just running. I'm like, I just got to get the first down, because I think it was 3rd and 1. And so I put my head down, and after I got that first down, I get blasted. I'm almost, I think I get like, what's the torpedo or helicopter or whatever?
Yeah.
Like that, but that's how I felt, honestly. And I just remember doing that. I'm like, yeah, I ain't never doing this again.
Right. If you know, you know.
But the funny thing is, I stayed in the drive. Like I stayed in the game that whole drive, and so I couldn't. And I remember dude ends up throwing a touchdown. But I remember I had a pass block for the first time in my life, and so we're on like the 10-yard line or something like that, and they call it pass play. And I remember this short, stocky linebacker. And he just like, I remember like, I'm okay. I would have him, because I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, okay, so he'd have him. I would have the mic. Okay, bet. And so he calls Ike, and I'm just like, all right, I hope he doesn't come. There's so many phases of my life that like I feel like they're chapters. And I feel like there's been so many chapters, like especially in my 20s, or since I've been, an adult, since I was 18. Honestly, I had a coach tell me a quote when I was 15, I believe, 15 or 16. I think it was sophomore or junior year of high school. And his name was Coach Gay, and this man was hilarious. He cussed out anybody and everybody. But he was like one of the coolest guys to me, because for some reason, I think he just like kind of took a liking to, I guess, how I handle situations or whatever. And like, I was pretty quiet. So I didn't really like talk too much. But I think he might've like saw me like, probably get emotional one time, I think after a loss or something, I can't remember. But I think it was before the first game, and he came up to me. And you know, one of the coaches that like don't say anything to you, and when if I do say something, it's like that moment matters a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
He came up to me and he just like was looking down, and he kind of like looked at my shoulder pads and he was like, "Malik, stay cool as a cucumber." I'm like, "All right, bet." And he would say that to me every single day after that, like every single day or every single time, like before a game. And so for me, like whenever I think about something's going on, and this is very small, but for me, like the littlest things, the littlest golden nuggets go a long ways for me.
Oh,
And staying as calm as possible through the thick of everything really helps me out a lot. And there's also quotes in our locker room, no, not locker room, our weight room in high school. And there was a quote the saying, "Be the hammer, not the nail." And that always clicks with me. Like, I'm like, okay, no matter what, I have to be the hammer. Like, I cannot be having something else like hammering me into something. I have to like take control of what I can control, and that's it. And there's also a quote that said, "You can't be great only on the days that you feel good."
right.
And so, like for me, I take that into work. I take that into the gym. I take that into relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I take that into almost everything in my daily life or not almost everything, for sure everything. And I do my best to do that because you can't just like be there for someone or be there for yourself when things are going right. And
Exactly.
Obviously life, just like how we're talking about the pandemic and this unfortunate virus that's been going on and kind of like taking control of this world for the past 2-3 years, 2.5 years, we have to obviously like, you know, be on, and we have to, I mean, it's amazing, and it's a fantastic, wonderful thing. And I'm a huge advocate for like mental health, well-being, and like getting therapy and like making sure that you check on yourself and like always making sure that you can be vulnerable with one person or at least somebody in this world, because we go through too much to bottle everything in, and you can't stay sane like that.
Oh,
but
absolutely right.
I feel that obviously on the days that you feel good, you know, what I'm saying is on the days that you don't always feel the best are days that you still can do good, and you still can like do what you have to do because that discipline that you need to have. And we can't go throughout life without discipline, because that the things that just like come along with that are things that make us highly functionable human beings. And so, and it just enhances your life, obviously. So for me, just like making sure like, yes, I can be vulnerable, but yes, I still have jobs to do. I still have to do something today. I still have to do the things that I need to do that I'm responsible for. And if I have goals, I have to like make every single step towards that right direction on a daily basis. That's what like I always want to hold myself accountable to and towards. And so those little things go a long way with me. But I also feel, I'm sorry, what was the main basis of the question again?
Just your after effects, just some lessons, you know, that you learned during your career that you kind of still carry with you now.
Lessons. So I think the lesson is also some lessons that I've also learned are, you know, mainly controlling what you can control. And also there was a quote from a guy that I don't know who said it to me, but I feel like that quote changed my life forever. And I've always felt like I'm not doing enough, but I also have like been told by people close to me that like if there's going to be somebody, it's going to be Malik that's going to figure it out. And that goes a long way with me because like, you know, I don't always feel like I have it figured out. I don't always feel like I'm doing the right things to do that. So one, it's good to have people around you that obviously pay attention to you and also like, you know, put positive energy back into you. But there's a guy who told me, you know, if everybody followed their dreams, the world would be a better place. And for me, and when the pandemic hit, I'm just like, yo, like, this is what I want to do. And at the time, I wanted to be a trainer. I want to be the best trainer in the world. but I also knew that that was a dream, a temporary dream that was going to lead to my long-lasting dream. And like, obviously, you can be in entertainment until you're, you know, in the grave, basically.
Yeah, forever.
And so that was, you know, the long-lasting dream, and just like doing what I do now, and you know, blessings after blessings, and like, you know, all the hard work that's going into it, and you know, kind of like seeing what the good that comes from it and the lessons that comes from it as well. Just knowing that like I am following my dreams finally. I am like following the thing that has given me life after football. And just like how your podcast is called After Effects, I feel like the after effects for me have been a blessing because one, I've wanted to keep myself busy, but I also wanted to make sure that like if I did something, it's going to be something that like I could be proud of. And now I can like finally say like, you know, art and you know, being able to like do what I love is something that like brings so much happiness into my heart and so joy, because you know it would be amazing to like, you know, throw that game winning touchdown, because there's nothing else like playing quarterback in the NFL or just playing quarterback in general, just like playing football. It brings you the most joy, it brings you the most happiness, it breeds the best competitor out of you. It brings the best you to the table. But it's also short-lived. And it's also something that I feel like gets you ready for the rest of your life. I don't feel like it builds character, because you should already have character before you get into it. And like everything else, like life builds character, but it adds on to your character for sure. And it adds strength, it adds mental stability, discipline, and everything else that possibly might come from it. But that's also something that's like temporary. And I feel like it's almost like, I don't want to say it's almost like Marine or Navy or Army like, but it's almost to that building of something that is so intense and so like strategic. It's something that like, it builds something out of you, or it builds something within inside you that can carry on for the rest of your life. Because you know, once you play football, like you understand all, like it's almost like a fraternity, obviously.
Right. Oh,
you know,
definitely.
because you shed blood together, you shed everything that comes along with it. So I think with that, I've experienced football enough, like competitively, to last me the rest of my life, because like I've learned so much, and I can still learn so much just from like my experience in that. And that's why I knew 2019 that like I've experienced enough at this point to say like, you know, I did my best. Like, yes, you know, I might not have been healthy enough. You know, the cards might not have been in my favor enough, but at the same time, this is what God wanted. So therefore, I have to be okay with that. And if I want to keep on playing, I either have to have more money, more opportunities, or, you know, a doctor that's going to do more surgeries on me for free. And it just,
don't work like that.
You know, it doesn't make sense. And you have to figure out like what's next for you. Like, how are you going to survive in this world without football, obviously? Because we spend so much money, we spend so much time, we spend so much energy trying to get on that roster. And when we don't make that, it's like, okay, you know, it's been a couple of years now, you know, when's it going to happen? If it doesn't happen, then we got to figure it out. Right. And it took me a while to like, because at first I'm like, why would I ever stop? You know what I'm saying? Like I remember I went back to my hometown. I went back to Pittsburgh, and I was lifting at a gym over there, and there was a guy. I remember him like, I think it was like when I got cut from my first team, and he was like, yeah, man, you just gotta like get that up out of you. Yeah, you gotta like, you know, get that football up out of you until you're ready. And he said it in a way where it's just like, you know, you have to go through this until you're not ready to play no more. As in like, you know, you gotta basically kind of like encouraging me to stop playing or something like that.
Okay.
And I felt so disrespected at the time. I'm like, why would you tell me this? Like, why would this even come out of your mouth?
Right.
At the same time, like that's how he viewed it. That was his experience. Right. And so for me, like at the time, I'm like, when I do something, I want to do it full throttle. So when I was in it, I'm just like, why would you even say something like that? But at the same time, I understood that was his perspective. And I had to understand that, like, okay, that was his perspective. My perspective right now is to keep on playing. And when I was done playing, I'm like, okay, now I can understand where he's coming from, even though it might not have been portrayed, the best way for me to understand it. I can see where he's coming from now, because now, like, I'm happy with where I'm at. And now I can, like, be a normal human being. I don't have to be looked at like, that's the football player. I know that's the football player who's actually, like, in life doing human things now.
Exactly. And I kind of feel like breaking that mold can be difficult when people know you for that football player or the athlete. Like you said, you play baseball and basketball. I play basketball. So if you say my name in Cleveland, my hometown, it's gonna be like, oh yeah, Brian, I play ball. Like that's gonna be the first thing. Like, that's kind of how you're identified. So, like, even for me, getting into acting 4 years ago, I had to hear all the jokes, because it's like, oh, Brian, like, you acting now? Like, are you an actor? You a thespian? You know what I mean? So it's like, when you try to break off or branch off and do something different, people identify you as an athlete. That's what they know you as. So when you do try to do that, usually it comes with some kind of resistance, or people just not seeing you in that light, or you know what I mean, or hating, whatever you want to call it. So
that brings me to another quote that I used to love. When people, or no, if people aren't laughing at your dreams, they're not big enough. Exactly. And, like, I expect people to think that, like, that's pretty. That's man. This is all, like, coming back to me, because when you're on full go mode, you forget a lot of this stuff, or you, like, put it in the back of your mind. Exactly. But I remember, like, as soon as I did it in college, and I was obviously the only football player. Actually, there's another dude who was a good friend of mine, but I was one of the only guys, basically the only guy in, like, real theater in college. And I remember when I first did my Shakespeare play, and I wanted my teammates to come and watch. And at the time, like, everybody had something to say about it. Everybody was talking about, oh, you're an actor. Like, oh, come on now, like, you barely look comfortable talking to people in real life. Right. And at the time, like, I didn't blend in that much in college. And so, and ironically, like, in the NFL and pro football, like, I feel much more at home, and, like, I could actually be like, I actually fit in with people. Right. People actually respect one another. College, it was much different. You had cliques, you had people that were going through phases. It was different. So I didn't always, like, have that. I don't know. Like, I wasn't always very, very close with my guys until, like, probably my junior, senior year. But for the first couple of years, it was tough to, like, kind of, like, be around people as much, on a consistent basis, at least. But yeah, so it was. Damn, what was I just saying? I was about to say something. There was a guy who told me, "Damn it, I hate when that happens. you get in the groove and you just forget it." So, what was I just gonna say? You could say something, but I hope this never happens in the future.
Oh, no, you good. Yeah. So my last question was just, kind of like, where do you see yourself and your acting career in, say, 3 years? Because right now I think you're on a great straight line. You're booking a bunch of, like, national spots and getting all that national commercial experience. And obviously, I'm sure the bag is there. So do you see yourself eventually moving into TV and feature films? Are you kind of just taking it, as they come, or, like, kind of where do you see your acting career in 3 years from now?
Yeah, sorry, just to go back to what I was just saying, I just remembered. So, like, when I was doing the Shakespeare play, I remember, like, a lot of guys, obviously weren't open to, like, to say, oh, well, he's an actor. But when I finally, like, did it, and I was actually, like, able to, portray, and it was probably one of the best things in the world to, like, show my dad that I could do something outside of sports, and, like, to hear him laugh from, like, the upper deck from a scene that I did was, like, one of the best feelings ever. Yeah. And have my uncle laughing, laughing obnoxiously in the stands. I mean, everything like that. So that gave me so much joy to know, like, everybody's gonna knock it until you actually do it. Not everybody's like, okay, you tell me you want to be an astronaut, I'm like, okay, like I haven't seen anything that you've done leading up to that. But once you actually are in that process, like, okay, he was serious about it, I'm a supporter now.
Right.
And
yeah, that's similar to a quote I saw Will Smith say. Like, I think it was not on the Breakfast Club, but Sway's Universe, so the Sway show, when he was like, you know, you can't really like expect people to jump on a bandwagon or to believe how you believe. Like, you want to be an actor, you want to be a comedian, whatever the case may be. Most of the, like you take him for instance, nobody believed that he could do it till he actually did it. Then after you actually do it, then it's like, oh well, yeah, you is kind of funny, or like, oh you did, oh you is, oh like I liked you in that role. Like they don't start liking it until they see that you actually was serious and you actually doing it. Like, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. No, exactly. And I take that. I mean, I take that like, you know, just for what it is. Like, people are not gonna just be open to it until they see it. And I feel like that's a huge thing with acting too. Like, if I tell you like I'm gonna play an action hero or a janitor or a teacher or anything like that, you're not gonna see it until I actually do it. So
exactly. And I think, and like you said, man, it's just 99% of the world aren't pursuing their dreams. They're working a job that they hate, you know, or you know, they're living a life that they probably don't like. So even those kinds of things seem like unfathomable, like they seem like untouchable. And even for me jumping into it, like, but you know, I've always tried to just have an open mind and an open heart about it. But I can remember, well, last year I auditioned for like 4 different roles for the Black Adam film, with The Rock. And I just, like, when I got him, I just couldn't believe that, like, because, you know, most of them was like Warriors, you know, stuff like that. But it's just like, wow, like, even just the experience, it was just a couple lines for all different roles. I didn't book any of them, so that sucked. But just being like, having that experience, like, and having to keep going back to the self-tape studio to keep auditioning. Now, I mean, but I have those auditions to like show agents when I started taking meetings and things like that. But it just seemed like I felt like I was so close. I didn't get a call back, but that's how you know that, like, you're moving right, your headshots are right, like you moving in the industry right, when you are getting those kind of auditions, man. And
absolutely.
Like, and that action hero stuff, you know, I think that's a dream for every like male, you know, who's really into film. So yeah, that takes me back to that.
Oh, for sure, yeah, so to your last question, it's definitely been a blessing, and just, you know, being able to have my foot in the door is just like, you know, that's what you want, obviously, and you know, obviously more so the bulk of my work have been commercials the past year, but I did just finish a film with Isaiah in Atlanta. We shot that for about 5 weeks. And that was an amazing thing. But I also just booked a TV show in August. So I am going to be in that. It's more of a sports type thing as well. Okay. But you know, that's something I'm like really excited for. Nice. But yes, but now
congrats on that, bro.
Thank you, appreciate it, man. Now that I'm finally back after, like, you know, damn near 2 months out in Atlanta, I'm definitely excited to kind of like, you know, get into more theatrical work. I've been taking meetings this year. I've been talking to a lot of agents theatrically, trying to find out the best one to kind of like transition with, because I'm covering I'm fully repped and everything else, but I'm kind of like leaving my theatrical agent open. It's open right now, just so I can like make sure.
Just to make sure you get the right one. Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
That's the most important, I feel like.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing too. Manager, publicist. I'm taking my time. Like, I don't want to, because like you said, you want to be in the best position possible.
Right. And for me also, like, knowing that I can, like, you know, I'm booking everything else. I mean, not everything else, but like I'm booking other forms.
Right.
It's you know, I already have I don't want to say you know, a decent resume to present myself with everything else. So, you know, everything I've booked in film are just through connections right now. People that I know that are on set, people that I know that are the producers and that are in production. But to obviously like have to go out for those Black Adam roles and everything like that. honestly, that's a dream to finally do. But I also want it to happen in the right time. And I'm not trying to, like, because of what you say, like, I mean, commercials are amazing, man. Like, it's, you shoot them for 1 or 2 days or maybe a week at most, and they can go on forever. And that's a blessing to just like be a part of those things. I did a couple, I did a Hyundai commercial, Budweiser, and I just did a baseball commercial too, for MLB Fox. Okay. And their opening day. And so, I did that right before I went out to Atlanta. And now I'm finally back. And I as soon as I got back, I shot 2 days. Like, I literally got in at 1 a.m. and I
you went right to set.
Right to set, man. And I had to do it's for metabolic living, and it was like it's like an at-home workout video, right? And it's like a commercial promoting it, and also like the actual videos of us working out. Yeah. Did that for 2 days, so I'm giving myself a little break because I've been going nonstop for 2 months, going hard. So I took this past week and try to and I just moved into my new place as well. So, it's been a crazy transition because I moved in while I was out there. Okay. That was pretty crazy. We had to like hire the movers and everything like that. So now I'm able to finally settle in. And so going to the summer, now I'm at a much healthier place to finally be back, to finally already have some good amount of work done this year. I want to, actually take the right meetings, talk to the right people. So, it's I see it as coming in how it should. Yeah. But I don't force it, obviously.
Yeah, it's definitely a process.
Right. And so, obviously, since I'm already doing what I love right now, I think transitioning or really, pursuing that heavily will come at the right time. But I want to be able to be with the right people first. Exactly. And right now, to kind of give myself the roles that I am, I'm okay with that right now because I'm also learning a whole lot about myself right now, as an actor, as an artist, as a person, what I want to do, what I can do, so I can present the best Malik. Right. So that's really important to do. Because you see a lot of guys who are fully repped, but then they have to let them go after a certain while. Because I've seen about 8 guys who have managers that don't manage anything, and they just are kind of wasting space in their life because they kind of exerting that energy into that person, and they don't really see the after effects or the benefits.
Nothing's coming into fruition. Yeah,
exactly. So right. I want to make sure when that does happen, and when I do that somebody, it's someone that I fully trust. Exactly. They trust me too, because I have to have the full repertoire so they can present that with
right. And they have to understand your brand, what your brand is, what what kind of brand deals you looking for, what kind of ad revenue you're looking for when you're talking about commercials, because you've done so many commercials. It's gonna be a certain point where now you can start coming up with your own number, you know what I mean? So it's so much that comes with it. So I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely, bro. And it's very true. Coming up with your own number, I mean, that's something that's a risky avenue to go down. But I also know a lot of guys that do that, and guys that I've been working with that book consistently. And I don't know if they're just saying that or if they actually are doing it, but that's exciting to get into that.
You'll get there. Like you said, everything in steps, man. And I tell guys because people always ask, what next show you in? Or it's I've been doing it for 4 years, and it's I always compare it to football. I played football for 18 years, practiced football for 18 years. And still didn't make it to the highest level. So when you're talking about acting, something like that, where someone has to book you or someone has to think that you're good for something, you're not gonna get to the mountaintop in 4 years. You got to put in work. You got to go to practice. You got to go to acting classes. You got to learn the industry. You got to get headshots. You got to maybe look for get into your local theater company and maybe do a couple of local plays. I mean, it's so many things you got to do to put the work in, especially if you didn't study theater or study acting like for 4 years or 2 years, whatever the case may be. So I always like relate it to football, and then it makes more sense to people. Like, hey, like I only been doing this 4 years. Like I still got a long way to go.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's a process, and it's a tough business, but it's also very rewarding when you see those
very
wins.
rewarding. Yeah,
that's another thing with our artists and our entertainers, especially in the black actors, black actresses in our realm. We have to celebrate each other as much as possible, because I was out there. We did the movie with a big actor, and for him to like actually like put his arm around me and take me under his wing and like spit nothing but great positivity into me as a person for 5 weeks was amazing. And
yeah, Isaiah told me about it.
Yeah, and, you know, I don't
know, and he speaks our language because he played football, so he speaks. Exactly. He moves and speaks like us, like, you know.
Exactly. And so for him to like actually like, you know, talk to me, like call me Lee, you know what I'm saying? Like only people around me call me Lee. And he's like, I'll link with you and like already call me, you know what I'm saying? Like really talk to me about everything that he wants to talk about. And like literally will they'll call action. He'll still be talking to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my bad, like go ahead, you know? Like just like so enriched into feeding wisdom and to young black men is amazing. And so
absolutely, yeah.
That's why I think it's always good to like that we celebrate our little wins, because those little wins stack up.
Oh, I'm telling you, yeah. Gotta celebrate the little wins. And that's actually the last thing that I've been doing since I started this. I've always felt like, you know, we just don't especially as black men, we don't show each other enough love. So I've been priding myself on just giving guys flowers, man, while we both still here. So everything you've accomplished, bro. I remember like improvly interviewing you on the on the All American set, and I really felt at home with you because I was like, okay, this dude know how to play, you know how to like at least improv and just come up with stuff, because that's all I was doing, but it was so fun. So just to see your career blossom, bro, like everything you've accomplished with football, baseball, you know, you're doing baseball commercials as well. To see how everything is going for you, bro, I just want to kind of like show you that love, eyes to eyes, bro, and give you your flowers, you know, while we both still here, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, LeBron. Hey, and I want to say that interview was hilarious, and I really hope you get that tape, because that was oh my God, man, that was. Like, because that was my first or second day on set, like of anything.
Okay.
Grab the mic. You're like, all right, and we just got into it.
Yeah, we just got into it. Yeah, that was fun, man.
Yeah, so that was hilarious, bro. I was like one of my favorite moments on set ever.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I really appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir.
Like, on here, and like I think what you're doing right now, and I know what you're doing right now is amazing. And like you're only gonna propel from here, because it starts with this. Like it always starts somewhere. And what you're doing right now, man, is fantastic. I hope we get a lot more guys that are like us on here, which you will obviously.
You know,
and I'm gonna be, you know, tuning in obviously, but like I want to say thank you, because for me, it's not easy to talk about myself. I don't really like talking about myself, but for you to like kind of ask the right questions. You know, actually be personable, you know, actually like, you know, how do you say it? Involved. It's really good. And for me, it's the first podcast, so I appreciate you, man. For real.
Yeah. I mean, and that was pretty much the goal of that was the ethos of it, because I think that you can't have a podcast and be interviewing people where you haven't walked through that as well. So I always felt like any type of language an athlete is talking, I'm gonna be able to relate to it, because I did that, at the highest level in college, at least, man. So and like you said, this is your first podcast. This is the first time you've been able to kind of dive back into those years on a pod. So that was the point of it. It's kind of like, I mean, I'm not a therapist, but it's kind of just like just reliving that, and you look at things from a different eye view when you're older, and you know you're a little wiser, and you've been through some things, so you look at those situations now when you were 19 as like a 29, 28, 30-year-old man. It's like, you know, you have a different viewpoint on it.
Right, facts, absolutely, man. And hey, big ups to you, because like what you're doing right now is gonna I feel like it's gonna like save a lot of lives too, because guys who put those cleats up and not really know what they want to do, they don't always know how to talk about it. And I know that this right here is going to only go up. So
exactly. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, most definitely. And I encourage you to keep on doing this. Obviously, you already will.
Oh,
and with your acting career too, bro, I know you right there as well.
Oh yeah, I'm grinding. They gonna stop.
So we in the grind together, man. And I want to say thank you. And it's been an honor, bro. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you, man. We'll be in touch, bro.
Yes, sir. All right, dog.
All right, man.
All right.
Peace.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, guys. So I thought that was a great episode 78 with Malik. We, like I said, we met on a set, and we just kind of immediately kind of clicked and like hit it off. He's with Natural Best Agency out in LA. They cast some of like the biggest national commercials. So I mean, he's done just an immense amount of big commercial work. Just he's in the same movie that Isaiah Bowens is in, Fantasy Football with Amari Hardwick. So I can't wait for that to come out. I believe at the end of this year to check that out. Check some of my guys out. If you've listened to this entire episode on Apple Podcasts, please rate us. Please leave us a review. As you know, listenership is one of the ways that we make money. If you've watched this on YouTube, please subscribe to LeBron Daniel TV. Please leave a comment or a question if you have one. Yeah, until the next time, peace. Subscribe to LeBron Daniel TV. But you already knew that, where we dig deep and find our hustle, and every single day we are better than yesterday. Subscribe.